I keep meeting my birth mom, but she doesn't know it's me. Follow or subscribe for more stories. My birth mom had me when she was only 14. I was adopted, and my parents never hid that from me. Growing up, they told me what they knew about her and gave me a letter she had written. That letter has stayed with me my whole life. A child had written it to her child. She said she was sorry she couldn't be my mommy and that she hoped I was happy. She was open to contact someday, but when I was 11, my family moved because of my dad's job. After that, finding her seemed impossible. Until I did. At 24, I discovered that she worked at a small restaurant 2 hours away. I started going there once or twice a week. I told myself I was just trying to understand who she was before changing both of our lives. For 3 months, she served me without knowing I was her son. We would talk when the restaurant wasn't busy. She seemed warm and genuine. Because I became a regular, she always greeted me with a huge smile. Sometimes she called me honey while offering a refill, and every time I wanted to tell her, but I couldn't make the words come out. I knew this revelation might bring up feelings she had carried since she was 14. I also didn't know what kind of relationship she wanted now. So I kept driving 2 hours, sitting at the same tables, and leaving with the truth still inside me. People suggested I write her a letter, the way she had written one for me. I almost did, but eventually, I realized I needed to say it face to face. One night, I waited until her shift ended and the restaurant was closing. I stood in the parking lot with my heart pounding. When she came out, we said hello like usual. Then I told her there was something serious she needed to know. I apologized for keeping it from her. She didn't understand at first. Then I pulled out her letter. The moment she saw it, she knew. I didn't even finish saying, "I'm your son." She started crying and rushed forward to hug me. Then, even in that overwhelming moment, she pulled back and asked whether it was okay. Of course it was. We held each other in that parking lot, both crying. Her legs gave way for a moment, and I held her up. Then she looked at me and said, "Look how big you got." That broke me. She insisted on reopening the restaurant. We sat inside with coffee and a slice of pie and talked until almost 2 in the morning, even though the place had closed at 11. She told me that the second time I came in, she had felt something. But for years after the adoption, she had seen children who looked about my age and wondered if they were me. Getting her hopes up over and over had hurt her deeply, so when that feeling returned, she forced it down. She said I looked just like my biological father when he was young. They had stayed in contact in case I ever found one of them, so the other could be reached too. They had both wanted to keep me, but they were children themselves. My biological father had been 15. Letting me go had affected both of them for years. Her biggest question was whether I was happy. Were my parents good to me? Had I had a happy childhood? I told her yes. I had a wonderful life, and I thanked her for helping make that possible. She had stayed in the same city after I turned 18, hoping I might find her. When I didn't, she worried that I resented her, didn't know I was adopted, or simply didn't want her in my life. I felt guilty for waiting, but she told me I had done nothing wrong. I had every right to move at my own pace. We exchanged numbers and planned another dinner. After I left, she texted to thank me for giving her a gift she never knew she would receive. When I got home, my girlfriend held me while I cried happy tears. Everything had gone better than I ever imagined. And then there was my biological father. Meeting him made me even more nervous because I knew almost nothing about him. Plans were delayed by work and illness, but a few weeks later, my birth mom and I waited for him at a park. He was crying before we even reached him. He pulled me into the biggest bear hug and kept coming back for one more. He told me that he and my birth mom had always loved me. He kept looking at my face, thanking God, and holding me again. Apparently, he had cried so much while driving there that he thought he had no tears left. When the three of us sat down, I finally saw how much I looked like him. He had brought 2 gifts. The first was a teddy bear holding a framed photograph of him at 15, standing in the hospital and holding me as a newborn. Until then, I hadn't even known he had been there. The second was a journal. Years after the adoption, while he was in therapy, he began writing to me. He wrote about learning my birth mom was pregnant, the adoption, and what he felt when he first held me. Writing helped him cope because he hoped he might give those pages to me someday. I still haven't read all of it. The pages I have read made me cry. I could see how deeply losing me affected two kids who loved me but knew they couldn't raise me. Like my birth mom, he wanted to know everything about my life. I made sure both of them understood that they had made the right decision for me. My childhood had been happy, and my adoptive parents had given me a great life. Once we felt less awkward, my birth mom left us to talk privately. My biological father told me stories about their younger years and pointed out little things we shared. We both loved hiking, swimming, playing pool, and 90s rock. Even my love of mangoes connected me to my birth mom, who had craved them while she was pregnant. None of this story proves every reunion will unfold this way. I was incredibly lucky, but I learned that love can survive years of silence, and that finding my biological parents didn't take anything away from the parents who raised me. It simply showed me that more people had been loving me from a distance than I ever knew. Would you have revealed the truth in that parking lot? Or would you have written a letter first? Follow for more stories.